Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Morning with Meg, and I'm glad you're here. If you want to chat me up, you can always do so on the chat box. Let me know where you're coming in from and kind of what you're hoping to get from this 1 hour all levels flow. I am happy to be here as just a service to the community. But also, just so you know, this is my practice. Teaching is my yoga practice. And for those of us who are yoga teachers, you kind of know this way. So when I take to the mat this way, I'm actually doing my own practice as well. And as we've been talking about last week and this week, the whole idea is, what is the hook? So the hook is something that kind of grabs your attention and pulls you away from presence in your life. Something that kind of spins your mind away. And part of our yoga practice is to really, first of all, recognize that hook. Lots of us just don't even have the awareness that we are being hooked or triggered into something, that we sort of follow the thought farther away from who we are. And so the idea, the practice is to, first of all, recognize it. And then the second practice is to resist the urge to follow. So let's say you have a scratch on your nose or an itch on your nose. It's kind of the same thing. The resistance is the recognizing that it itches, and then not to scratch it, not to rub your nose. Bad analogy, especially during this time of really intense pollen, but that's what it is. So here's the whole idea of why we don't really want to scratch the itch. Good morning, Allie. So good to have you back. Hey, listen, Allie has asked something about upper neck and shoulders. Yes, in fact, I had the same thought. So wait for our centering, okay? Make sure you have 2 blocks or a blanket or a pillow, if you could, just for that shoulder opener. Anyway, back to this. Here's what Dear Eckhart from A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose talks about why we would resist. Why? Why not just follow all those thoughts? He says, well, part of our urge, our wanting to scratch, that comes from the ego. And the ego asks, how can I make this situation fulfill my needs? Or how can I get to some other situation that will fulfill my needs? He says, presence is a state of inner spaciousness. I love that. When you are present, you ask, how do I respond to the needs of this situation, of this moment? In fact, you don't even need to ask the question. You are still, alert, open to what is. You bring a new dimension into the situation, peace, space. Then you look and listen. Thus, you become one with the situation. Instead of reacting to a situation, you merge with it. The solution arises out of the situation itself. Actually, it's not you, the person who is looking and listening, but alert stillness itself. Then, if action is possible or necessary, you take action, or rather, right action happens through you. Right action is action that is appropriate to the whole. When the action is accomplished, the alert, spacious stillness remains. So let's work on that today, shall we? Everybody find your way to a comfortable place in your mat. Making yourself comfortable in the body. Let's start there today. And let's begin with kind of a focus inward. easiest way to do that is to find the breath. So let's just follow the breath for a little bit. If you'd like to work with drishti once again, that idea of the focal point, you can let your eyes come to a very soft gaze somewhere in front of you. Sometimes for those of us who are used to being busy, stillness itself is a hook. Just see if you are anxious to move something. If you want to modify the breath somehow. If you find your shoulders rising up to your ears, or a clench in your jaw. Resist these urges. See if you can find a little spaciousness in that resistance. The idea is not to push it away, but to relax and to soften into that sense. You recognized it, and you've resisted it for now. So relax. So I invite you to stay in this intention of resistance, of softening, of looking for spaciousness. Or perhaps there's something else that brought you to the mat. Something else you'd like to take away with you today from the mat. Whatever it is, let's fold it in at heart center, either hand on top of heart, or an Anjali Mudra prayer pose at the heart. And we'll open up our practice with one full deep inhale through the nostrils. Exhaling, just let it go. Today it's cold and rainy in Washington, D.C. And I always like to begin cold mornings with a brisk rub into the palms, just warming them up, and then placing them anywhere on the body where you need just a little bit more love and attention from yourself this morning. So we'll begin on our back. So if you aren't there already, let's go ahead and make our way to the back this morning. And what I want you to do this morning is find yourself a pillow or a block. We're going to need 2 pillows or a block, something that we can use for our hamstring openers. But if you would, please go ahead and grab yourself a block. I'm going to be at the top of my mat throughout this, just so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go ahead and lay my head. Actually, I should be probably back here. I'm going to lay my head onto the block. Okay, and a pillow will do, a blanket, a folded blanket will do. And you want your ear completely against the block. Now let's bring knee on top of knee and hip on top of hip. And bring shoulder on top of shoulder, hand on top of hand. So we're in this kind of invisible chair this morning. And then on inhale, we want to go ahead and open up, bringing the hand back behind you. You're in a twist situation here. Exhale completely. Inhale. Let's get the belly involved in that. Exhale, bring the belly button to your spine. There you go. Deep, full inhale. And exhale. Now let's take that as a flow. So on your inhale, hand to hand, shoulder on top of shoulder, engage the belly about 30%. On your next inhale, all the way over, opening up the pecs. Exhale here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale everything back. And now on your exhales, open out. Inhale back. Exhale, shoulder blades tracking down. See if you can get longer in your cervical spine. Inhale, palm to palm. And let's just keep this going. Feel free to close the eyes if that makes sense to you, or just find a drishti. Maybe it's tracking your thumb as it comes all the way up and over and finding a twist in the cervical spine. So Allie, this is a really good place for us who are experiencing, pretty bad shoulder, neck pain, particularly of all the hunching over our computers. We start to get really short in the pecs, and this helps a lot to kind of open it out. All right. One other thing that you can do, if you have a tennis ball, an old tennis ball or a lacrosse ball at home, you can take a ball and roll right here at your pec, just loosening it up before your practice. All right, let's take that on the other side. So I'm just going to transfer over here. So I'm still looking at you in the camera, but again, we will find other side. All right. So once again, sitting in that sort of invisible chair, ankle to ankle, knee to knee, shoulder on top of shoulder, palm on top of palm. Let's do this slow first. So inhaling and then exhale, opening out. So this is very different from a supine twist, right? So my shoulder blade is way up off the earth, but I feel this beautiful, beautiful pull. Shoulder blades stay down, belly stays engaged on exhale. Inhale back. Let's take that a couple more times. Just that sense of opening out, lengthening through the spine. Pull the lower belly into it. Inhaling, hand on top of hand. Let's do a longer one here, just engaging, allowing the body to open up. And now let's take that as a flow. So on your exhale, belly button to spine, inhale everything back. There you go. See if you can track the shoulder blades down. You can see how my shoulder blades are kind of making their way back up the spine, just moving back and forth here. Beautiful. Let's come all the way back up. Use your hands to press yourself up into a seated position. So here, most of us might need a block or a blanket underneath the sit bones just so we can bring our knees a little closer to the earth. Let's try some big circles around in the hips. Sometimes it's kind of nice just to continue. This could be called, that wedding dance that we do, right? But just feeling your pec still, just getting in there, working with the triggers as you find your way into some big circles on your mat. All right. So shoulder blades down the back. Belly is engaged. Hands high to the sky. Take yourself a twist to the right. Sit up tall. And exhale, belly button to spine. Get a little deeper in your twist. Now hang on to your right knee with your left hand and raise your right hand high to the sky. Take a side bend over your left knee. Deep, full breath in, track those shoulder blades down the back, and finding a little bit more of a side bend. Everything back to the center, spider tip fingers back behind you, lift up into the heart, and then back to neutral spine. Shoulder blades track down the back. Inhale, hands high. Take a twist this time to the left. Once again, sit up tall. On inhale, crown of the head reaching. Exhale, take a little bit of a deeper twist. Inhale up and exhale. Keeping your right hand where it is, left hand high to the sky. Take a side bend over your right knee. One more full deep breath in and out. Coming back up to center this time. Let's just take a little forward fold towards the front of your mat. Let your head and neck hang heavy. Maybe some gentle circles round and round. Looking to the left and looking to the right. And then spider tip fingers back. Removing the block or the blanket from underneath you. Let's bring both of our blocks to the front of the mat. We're going to need them. And finding your table. Hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath your hip bones. On inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the chest and chin. Exhale, round through the spine. Couple more times like this, cat-cow. Back to neutral spine. Right foot back behind you, cross it over left. Take a look back at those toes. And let's give ourselves a little bit of an Achilles stretch here. Just stretch back with that heel. Now, foot back behind you, hip height. See if you can straighten out the hips to the mat. Bend into the knee. And now let's bring that knee directly behind your right elbow. Inhale it back out and knee behind elbow. Inhale it back out and knee behind elbow. Inhale it back out, bring it into your tummy and bring it between your hands. I can tell it's going to be one of those days where I cannot think of words. So curl your back toes under, grab for your blocks. Okay, so here we are in our lunge. Get really, really long in lunge. Just until you feel like, I'm going to split myself in two. All right, drop your knee to the mat right there. Flatten out your foot, if possible, behind you. And rise up for your low crescent lunge. Okay, in low crescent, our belly engaged, glutes engaged, inner thighs engaged. So we feel as though we're sort of pulling into the midline. Hands can come high or in cactus arms for those of us with shoulder and arm pain. Neck pain, we can do like this or like this. Just let's be here, tracking that front knee over the ankle. Deep, full breath in and out. One more, just like that. Intentional breathing. And out. Now, hands come out in front of you like you're trying to grab something at the top of your mat. So stretch, stretch, stretch. Bring your torso to your upper thigh and then grab for your blocks. Keeping your torso on your upper thigh, we're just going to play a little bit with a hamstring stretch. Doesn't have to go far, just to your edge. So keeping your torso on your upper thigh, come back. All of your toes can stay on the mat, just stretching out, straightening out that front knee, and then back to your low crescent. Just feeling the connection here of your belly onto your upper thigh. Very nice, everybody. All right, coming back, removing the blocks, place the hands onto the mat, pop the knee up, send it back to your first downward dog of the practice. So shoulders tracking down the back, open up into the back body. So there's this sense of sort of curve in the upper part of the back, or doming in the upper part of the back. Press into your hands. Don't worry too much about those hamstrings. So we're just going to take a little bit of a trip. One of them has been worked pretty well, one not so well. All right, roll it up into your plank pose, top of a push-up. So really gather energy into your inner thighs. Once again, dome through the upper back. Keep your head on straight. Drop your knees to the mat. Find your half plank. Lower Ardha Chaturanga. Slow. Shoulder blades down the back. Hover your elbows at your rib cage. All the way up into your baby cobra. So point your toes back behind you. Find the engagement, inner thighs. Lift up light in the hands. And then exhaling back, downward facing dog. Roll up into your plank pose once again and find your table. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest and chin. Exhale, round through the spine. One more time. And now left foot back behind you. You can even touch your sacral spine, just making sure everything's pretty square. And cross it over your right foot. And again, a little bit of an opening in the calf and the Achilles tendon. Back behind you once more. Bend into the knee and find that knee up towards your left elbow. Out, back behind you. Left elbow. Out behind you. Exhaling, left elbow. Out behind you once again. Exhale, knee into belly. Plant the foot. Grab for those blocks. Here we go. Let's find long lunge. Oops, like you feel like you're almost out of control. Drop your knee to the earth and roll yourself up. Low crescent lunge. Again, any kind of arm variation that feels good here. See if you can keep the belly engaged in it. Once more back to your low crescent lunge. Lean forward, lean over. Reach, reach. Now grab for the blocks. Keep your torso on your upper thigh, and let's just play with a little bit of hamstring stuff. Doesn't have to go far. Listen for edge. Another way of looking at it is listen for hook. Like the place where you think, I don't want to be doing this anymore. Or I need to come out of this pose. Or a place where you start to hold your breath or move a little faster. All of those are itching that scratch. All right. Blocks to the top of the mat. Let's pop the knee up. Let's send it up to a standing forward fold. Inhale all the way up, reach high to the sky, hands together, heart center. Let's continue with warmth. Inhale, hands high. Exhale all the way down, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen, look forward, shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, forward fold. Feel free to keep a bend into your knees if that feels better. Inhale all the way up, reach high. Exhaling all the way back down, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen, look forward. Exhale, this time as you come down, bring your gaze up to your navel. And hands to the mat. Send your right foot back behind you. Your left follows to your downward facing dog. Rolling yourself up into your plank pose, top of a push-up, your choice, full or half Chaturanga Dandasana, up into your baby cobra or your upward facing dog. Exhaling back, downward facing dog. Raising your right foot up and back behind you. Let more weight come into the left foot. Opening out once more into that left leg. Press with the heel. Draw your knee up into belly, shoulders up over wrist. Hold. And bring the foot in between the hands. The other foot follows. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Look up. Hands together, heart center. Let's try that on the other side. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, take a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Send your left foot back behind you. Your right follows, downward facing dog. Roll it up into your plank pose. Shoulder blades down the back, belly's engaged. Exhaling full or half Chaturanga Dandasana. Up into your baby cobra or your upward facing dog. Exhaling back, downward facing dog. Raising your left foot up and back behind you. Press into your hands. Press into the heel. Toes are pointed straight down. Next exhale, bring your knee up into belly, shoulders up over wrist, dome through the upper back. And bring your foot up as far as it will go. Other foot follows. Standing forward fold. Reverse swan dive all the way up, reach high. Hands together, heart center. Hands to the sides of the body, mountain pose. So just take a moment. Once again, find the breath. Looking for spaciousness, for that softening into things. Inhale, hands high to the sky and sit down onto an invisible chair. Again, you can keep, for shoulder and neck issues, shoulder blades down the back, but let's keep the belly engaged here. Tailbone straight back behind you. So if you feel like you're sort of tilting forward with the pelvis, let's keep engaged in the lower belly, in the inner thighs. Deep inhale here. Exhale, take a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen, shoulder blades down the back. Just a reminder to keep them there. Exhale, all the way down. Send your right foot back behind you. This time, Your left follows to plank. Let's bring the big toe mounds together. We're going to take Vashisthasana side plank over to the left-hand side of your mat. So rock onto your right foot and lift your left hand high to the sky for Vashisthasana. So here we are, balancing. Lift up, press into that hand, lift up into the hip, maybe sending your upper hand straight forward to the top of your mat, with control, back to your half plank. I should have noticed it said you could take your modified plank there. Now, full or half Chaturanga Dandasana, up into your baby cobra or upward facing dog, exhaling back, downward facing dog. Raise your right foot up and back behind you, pull it through for your warrior one foot pattern. So rising up, warrior one. Once we're here, right knee on top of right ankle, back heel engaged, hips stay square, hands high to the sky. Deep full breath in and out. All right, slow, steady, fluid movement, bending a little bit deeper into that front leg, lifting the back foot up off of the mat. Reach out, just like we were doing in our low crescent. Find long torso, back foot engaged. You can always bring your hands to your blocks, they're right there. And then slow and steady, back to your lunge. Drop your knee to the earth, roll up, low crescent lunge. Bring your hands together, heart center. Bring your prayer forward. Again, we're finding torso and upper thigh. Take a twist to the right. Deep full breath in and out. See if you can find some more spaciousness. Back up to center and lower your hands to the earth. Pop the knee up, send it back, plank. So once again, let's find our big toe mounds together and rock it over for Vashisthasana, side plank on the other side. Now, modification, since I didn't show it to you on the other side, I'm sorry about that, is to drop your left knee to the earth, all right? But in Vashisthasana, both feet stacked. All right, press into that lower hand, open up, side stretching. And with control, back to your plank. Your choice, full or half. Chaturanga Dandasana, up into your baby cobra, upward facing dog. Exhaling back, downward facing dog. Raise your left leg up and back behind you. We're pulling it through for your warrior one foot pattern. Rising up, warrior one. So again, giving yourself a moment to get here. And then, with control, slow. So the urge, the itch, is to move into this really fast. But no, we really want to feel every bit of engagement. All four corners of the front foot engaged. Lifting, using the quads on the front standing leg to get you there. Reach out. Belly stays engaged. Again, hands can come down to the blocks, and with control, back to your lunge. Step it back, downward facing dog. Let's give ourselves a good 3 full deep cleansing breaths here. If you need to sigh it out, feel free. All right, raising the left foot up and back behind you. Pull it through for your low lunge. I forgot to do the twist on this side. Long in the lunge, drop the knee to the earth, roll yourself up, low crescent. Anybody who studies with me here in DC or Northern Virginia knows that I rely on my students to tell me when I've missed a place. So let's come into our twist to the left this time. All right. Again, we're looking for spaciousness. Here we go. Shoulder blades tracking down the back. Get that belly in it. Crunch those lower ribs back into the body. Find space in this twist. Back up to center. And hands to the ground. Pop the knee up and step yourself forward. Uttanasana. Inhale all the way up, reach high, hands together, heart center, hands to the sides of the body. Okay, we're just going to add on to those now. So inhale, hands high. Exhale, take a forward fold. Inhale, look forward, shoulder blades tracking down the back. Exhale, step it back with your right foot, left foot to plank. Deep full breath in, bringing big toe mounts together. Let's rock it over to side plank here. Maybe lifting that leg up off of the other and then down to your plank. Your choice, full or half Chaturanga Dandasana, up into your baby cobra, upward facing dog. Exhaling back, downward facing dog. Right foot up and back behind you. Pull it through for your lunge. Long in the lunge, drop the knee to the earth. This time we're coming into Hanumanasana. So we're long in the lunge, and then we're going to bring the hip directly over the knee. And as you can see, my front leg isn't completely straight. So I'm going to work it. I'm going to pick it up and bring it out in front of me, continuing to keep my hips square first to the front of the mat. So pulling that right hip back. And at the same time, keeping a little micro bend in my front knee, toes now up towards the nose, hips stay on top of that back knee. Here's where blocks are really handy because we're going to take a forward fold. So deep full breath in, lengthen through the spine, exhale, forward folding, helps to kind of walk those blocks forward. Send heart energy out in front of you. Again, notice if your shoulders are riding up to your ears. Go ahead, bring them down the back. Give it one more full deep breath in. And out. So here's where we're going to really find a challenge. So hands onto your blocks. Go ahead and bend a little bit into that front knee. Pop the back knee up. Find your lunge. Heart forward. All right. And then step it forward to your Uttanasana. Inhale all the way up. Reach high to the sky. Hands together, heart center. Hands to the sides of the body. Give yourself a moment just to notice what's different, if anything. Inhale, hands high, look up. Exhale, take a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Send your left foot back behind you. Your right follows. Plank. Bring big toe mounts together. Find a strong plank in the belly. We're taking Vashisthasana or modified Vashisthasana, side plank to the right side of your mat. Maybe that back, the upper leg lifts. And down to your plank, your choice, full or half, Chaturanga Dandasana, up into your baby cobra or upward facing dog, exhaling back, downward facing dog. So we're going to bring the left foot up and back, pull it through for lunge, long in the lunge, drop your knee to the mat, hold on to your blocks, bring them back behind you. Now, long, long, long in the lunge, and we're pulling the hips over the back knee, straightening into the front leg and letting the toes duck up. So for most of us, we need to either move the back knee or the front foot forward, keeping a little bit of a micro bend here, just so we can feel the opening of the back of the leg. So nice to sort of stay upward first, and then finding the forward fold coming from the hip crease. So each inhale, lengthening, each exhale, forward folding. And again, helpful to bring the blocks into it. Soften into this place. Shoulder blades down the back, Meg. All right, let's come out, then back into that knee. We're in a really long low crescent. Curl the back toes under, pop yourself up to your lunge, and step yourself forward into a forward fold situation. Inhale all the way up, reach high to the sky, and hands together, heart center. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, take a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Send your right foot back behind you. We're going to find warrior one foot pattern. Again, left hip coming forward, right hip forward, left hip back, excuse me. Hands high to the sky. Now we're going to take what Todd DeBenzik calls jaguar. I've never heard another teacher use it, but I love this particular pose. So I want you to go slow just to listen to what's happening in the body as you move. We're going to come into our warrior three foot pattern. Let's bring our hands together, heart center. You can always find your hands to the blocks if that's what you need for your warrior three today. So slow and steady, we're coming into our warrior three. So lift that back foot out in back of you. Keep a tone in the belly. Find your balance. Now, begin to really bend deeply into your standing leg. See if you can get the torso down onto your thigh. Press back, 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 back. Lift through the heart, crunch the belly. And now hands down to your blocks, standing split. So now lengthen out through the standing leg. Find your standing split. Again, we have that belly onto the thigh to some degree. And slowly, slowly, ever so slowly, moving your right foot next to the left, standing forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale and fold. One more time like that. Lifting, lengthening. Exhale, folding. Inhale all the way up, reach high to the sky. Hands together, heart center. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, take a forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Now, left foot back behind you for your warrior one foot pattern. Once again, it's just like those splits, right? We're finding that right hip back, left hip forward, belly engaged, shoulder blades moving down the back. One of the ways to think about this, instead of just me constantly telling you to move them back, is to energize the shoulder blades. So there's a sense of like, right? Superhero back. All right. So here we are, warrior one, engage through that front quad, hands to your heart center, slow and steady. We're lifting up one more time to a warrior three. Toes in the back are straight down. Sacral spine is parallel to the earth. Now, bending deeply, deeply, deeply into the front knee. See if you can make contact, torso to your upper thigh. Press into that back leg. Keep it hip height. Hands to your blocks or to the earth, standing split. Bring your gaze all the way up to your navel, remembering this is a forward fold. Keep your torso as close to your thigh as possible. And then slowly, slowly, ever so slowly engage and energize into that right hip. Bring the left foot down to meet the right. Standing forward fold. Inhale all the way up, reach high to the sky. Hands together, heart center. So we're going to take a big step back into the middle of your mat. And let's come up onto the balls of your feet to see if you can balance here. Again, all of that quakiness, all of that shakiness is just something that might hook us, right? See if you can just stay with the quaky, shaky. Come on down. Hands to heart center. Let's lower down. Lower, 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 keeping your knees together. See where your baseline is for your squat. So once again, we find the torso on the upper thighs. Bring your hands down to the earth. Lower your knees for your hero's pose. So hips off to one side or the other. Actually, no, in our heroes, sorry everybody, take your table, if you wouldn't mind. Let's do a hip opener that has sort of more to do with inner thigh strength, but we'll feel a little differently in the hips than we were with our hamstring openers. From here, bring your right knee over your left. And I don't know if you can see me here, but do you see how both of my feet are to the sides of my body? Here's where I want to grab for a block. I want it as a landing pad. All right, so make sure you have a lot of space between your two ankles. If you don't, you can always do this on your back. You can do Gomukhasana, cow face pose on your back. Or you can take your pigeon if you know that this isn't your hip opener. So go ahead and place the block between the two ankles, keeping knee on top of knee. Let's bring the feet out equidistant as much as we can. Keep your feet flexed. Sit up really tall in the spine. Now, Allie, you asked about shoulders. Here's what we can do for shoulders. If you do have a strap, go ahead and grab it, but you can always just grab your shirt too. With your opposite hand, so my right knee is on top, my left hand will go back and pat myself on the back. I want my elbow pointing straight up. The other hand out in front of you, thumb up, thumb down for an internal rotation of the shoulder. Now work your hand up your spine and press your thoracic spine against that hand. See if you can get both elbows, one pointing straight up, one pointing straight down, without bowing the back. No worries about the bind. Flat palms on your beautiful spine. Energize through the hands, energize through the arms. Now, if it feels okay, you can take a forward fold. Each time you have to inhale, stop, pause, bring spaciousness into your body through the vertebrae column, through your hips, through the engagement of your belly, making space on exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, engage the belly, come a little bit closer to the thighs. Last full breath in. And out. Go ahead and release your bind. Bring your hands out in front of you. Press into the hands and press your sit bones back into the earth. Continue to flex your feet. Inhale here. Exhale. Go ahead and let the head and neck hang heavy. 2 more full deep breaths here. And then once more, back to your Gomukhasana. Go ahead and remove the block from underneath you. That might be a little too high. Go ahead, bring your feet out in front of you, windshield wipering through the feet, bouncing through the knees. Bring a nice big bend into your knees. And sit up tall. And instead of Navasana, which is the way I usually like to end my practice, today I'm going to take a forward fold so I feel my entire torso on my upper thighs once again. I'm going to hold onto the backs of my knees. So I'm sitting up tall, and then I'm going to kind of work my feet out in front of me, trying to keep my torso on my upper thighs. When I get to my edge, I'm just going to be here. Find spaciousness in the back body. Find my shoulder blades tracking down towards the floor, keeping engaged in the shoulder blade muscles, right? So there's a sense of tracking them down, not just by pushing them, but really engaging all those beautiful little muscles under your shoulder blades. Maybe you find a little bit more space as you sit and relax into this shape. And coming all the way back up. Find your table once again. Let's take Gomukhasana on the other side. This time, left knee over right. Space between the feet. Block back behind you. Sit up tall. Try and really make sure that those sit bones are plugged in, tall in the spine. And now my left knee is on top, so my right hand back behind, elbow up, opposite hand, thumb up, thumb down, internal rotation of that shoulder. Look for the bind. Flat hands against your spine. And now a forward fold. Undoing the bind. Hands come out in front of you. Find torso to that upper leg. And press, press, press into the hands. Sit bones make contact. Drop your head and neck. All the way back up. Once again, coming off the block. Let's move the blocks to one side of the mat. Come all the way down onto your back. Your choice, you can do it vertebra by vertebra. All right, all the way down. Might even want to lift those legs up and hover down, whichever feels best for you. And again, think about sort of the emotional hook here. What are you telling yourself is right action? And really, what is right action? What does the situation demand? Once we get down to the back, bring the soles of your feet to the long sides of your mat, and let's windshield wiper the knees, one into the midline and then the other. Again, asking yourself, what is right action here? What do I need from this practice before I take a little rest? It might be taking that block and sliding it under the sacral spine. In your bridge pose, lifting your feet up. It might be bringing the soles of your feet together for your Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana, letting a little bit of a different hip opener happen in your groin, in your inner thighs, nice inner thigh stretch. It might be that it's just time for Shavasana now. So let's take the next 10 breaths doing what you need to do for your body, what the situation calls for. Just working into this space of presence, of awareness. All right. We will come into our Shavasana when you're ready. No rush. It might be that you're close to a wall and you can find your legs up the wall. That might be a nice way to begin your morning, just a little bit of an upside down kind of situation, but also a way to really turn off our stress response. Just for a day of kind of same old, but same old uncertainty, right? So wherever you are, let's just focus on the back body. So once again, we'll find the shoulder blades, bringing awareness to the shoulder blades, but let's flatten them out against the mat. It might mean that you need to kind of scooch your shoulder blades to a place where they both feel equally distributed on the mat, and that they're as far away from your ears as possible. So sometimes it's sort of having to kind of shimmy that shoulder down, shimmy the shoulder down, and then let your shoulder blades relax onto the earth. Let's bring some space between the legs if your legs are on the floor. You can always try this too with legs up the wall. Just aware though that this is not as relaxing since you're having to use some muscular energy to keep your legs up. And give yourself some space between your arms and your torso. And here's where we allow the eyes to close or to soften at the gaze of our ceiling. And as you come into your Shavasana, I'd like to read to you Sutra number 36 from the Radiance Sutras. It's a very loose translation of the Vijnana Vairava Tantra by Lauren Roche. And it reads this way. Space is worthy of worship and wonder. It is the field within which everything exists. Rest your eyes in emptiness, inside a room, a temple, even a little jar, any contained space. Throw the one who is seeing into the center. Entrust your mind to the embraced space. In a flash, all boundaries dissolve. All right, dear friends, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Such a pleasure to be with you on a very rainy day. It certainly brightens my life to have yoga with other people, even if the community is virtual and even if I can't see your beautiful spaces and faces. So next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, I'll be back. I also do work for Yoga Works DuPont and Arlington, so look for me in the live streaming there as well. All right. Thank you so much. Tomorrow is so wonderful to see you. I know I miss our walks. I really do miss you. All right. Bye, Stephen. Good to see you again, honey. All right. Bye, everybody. See you soon.